Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our talk on how inclusivity shapes the tech we all use. I'm Esther, and I'm a research lead with Thoughtworks Singapore.
And I'm James. I'm a design lead with Thoughtworks, also in Singapore. Our talk's split into three parts, so let's start at the beginning with part one. Everyday technology is shaped by a strong tradition of inclusivity. Humans are storytelling creatures. Telling stories is as old as we are, so it's no surprise that we invented machines to tell our stories too, including this machine that we're speaking to today. It's truly magic. Let's start and go back a little bit in time. Thomas Edison invented the phonograph 146 years ago. It was the first device that could record and reproduce sounds. So now we could transport our stories across distance and even time. Edison imagined a future where families gathered at home around a phonograph instead of the campfire and listened to novels read out loud. But the new technology was limited by recording length and sound quality. By the early 20th century, long playing vinyl discs, LPs, had been invented, and they allowed for longer recordings. And though music didn't sound very good, they were fine for the spoken word. So after the First World War, the American Foundation for the Blind began a project to get talking books into the hands of injured veterans. To do this, they licensed the technology to build and distribute LP players. And as that program grew in popularity, more and more people with visual impairments began to use it. The Talking Book project produced over 23,000 record players for blind people, and it employed 200 people in its factory. Almost half of them had sight impairments themselves. So for 15 years, newly invented vinyl LPs were almost exclusively used by visually impaired people to listen to a brand new invention, the audiobook. And we've come a long way since then. Audiobooks are available to everyone now. The global digital storytelling industry, audiobooks, is estimated at 11 billion Singaporean dollars in 2023. So this is a wonderful example of how people with disabilities drove the demand for a new technology. They proved its value, and eventually the whole world benefited. There's many more examples of this, so let's take a look at a few. Predictive text was originally created to help people with motion difficulties type more accurately. Today, it's a basic expectation for any mobile device. It speeds up our typing, and swipe to type isn't possible without it. And when it's paired with autocorrect, it's a powerful feature used by everyone. Speech recognition software was first developed to allow disabled people to use computers, and today it's woven throughout our daily lives. You can think of voice-activated virtual assistants on our devices or smart home objects, or how we navigate phone menus when we telephone the bank, or transcribing audio like when you speak a message to be sent as text. Closed captioning was made to help deaf and hard of hearing people enjoy television. Today, it's widely available to anyone and used in many different ways. Think of watching a foreign language video with subtitles, or understanding dialogue in noisy environments like a sports bar, or understanding dialogue in quiet environments when you can't play the sound. There's a reason that social media videos often include captions. 85% of Facebook videos are watched with the audio off. Screen readers and keyboard navigation were built to help visually impaired people by reading aloud text on a screen. Today, screen readers are built into every operating system. And some people use the technology to listen to their messages while they're busy commuting. Others use it to listen to news, articles, or books while doing other tasks. And speak aloud, turn-by-turn directions are also a form of screen reading. And lastly, touchscreens were first imagined as an accessibility feature for people with physical restrictions, like not being able to use a keyboard and mouse. Today, we're all completely dependent on them. So there's 5 examples of everyday technologies born from a desire to help more people access and use technology, which ultimately changed the world for all of us. So let's look at 2 more examples for a broader view on how these technologies enable more inclusive communication. Vint Cerf, pictured here on the right, helped invent the communications protocols which run the internet. He also happens to be hard of hearing. When his research colleagues developed electronic mail for the first time, it gave Vint a new tool to communicate more effectively. His access to email was crucial in enabling him to contribute to the early internet. But more recently, he's found the rise of video conferencing challenging because it brings back the uncertainties of voice calling. He said he looks forward to real-time automatic captioning to overcome the limitations that video calls pose for him. And as we've just seen with closed captioning, video call captioning ultimately will help all of us. Apple announced live audio transcriptions of voicemails in iOS 17 this year, so this stuff is coming very soon. And even emoji has a story here. When mobile internet took off in Japan, messaging was expensive and had limited character counts. They wanted a way to convey information succinctly. So, for example, an icon to show the weather forecast takes up less space than writing out thunderstorm. So, a new visual language, the icons that you see here on screen, was born and quickly became popular. And where words alone might seem cold or passive, adding icons helps to convey emotion and warmth. Unintentionally, emoji enable much more inclusive communication. So, for example, they enhance non-verbal communication. Everyone uses emojis to convey reactions and meaning in a more nuanced way than text alone. For people on the autism spectrum or those with learning difficulties, emojis offer a helpful way to express themselves more effectively. They also help overcome language barriers. Emojis are designed as universal symbols understood across languages and cultures. And this is a key factor in deciding which new ones are added each year. And they also promote inclusion. Emojis cover a range of cultural items, skin tones, gender identities, and disabilities to help represent and normalize human diversity. Let's close part one with a look to the future.
Seeing AI is a Microsoft research project for people with visual impairments. The app narrates the world around you by turning the visual world into an audible experience. Point your phone's camera, select a channel, and hear a description. The app recognizes saved friends.
Jenny near top right, 3 feet away.
Describes the people around you, including their emotions.
28-year-old female wearing glasses looking happy.
It reads text out loud as it comes into view, like on an envelope.
Kim Lawrence, P.O. Box.
Or a room entrance.
Conference 2005.
Or scan and read documents like books and letters. The app will guide you and recognize the text with its formatting.
Top and left edge is not visible. Hold steady. Lease agreement. This agreement.
When paying with cash, the app identifies currency bills.
$20 US.
When looking for something in your pantry or at the store, use the barcode scanner with audio cues to help you find what you want.
Campbell's tomato soup.
When available, hear additional product details.
Heated microwave bowl on high.
And even hear descriptions of images in other apps like Twitter by importing them into Seeing AI.
A close-up of Bill Gates.
Finally, explore our experimental features like scene descriptions to get a glimpse of the future.
I think it's a young girl throwing a frisbee in the park.
Experience the world around you with the Seeing AI app from Microsoft.
So you might have guessed from the voiceover quality, but that video is actually 5 years old. But watching it today, especially after Apple's Vision Pro announcement earlier this year, we can consider it in the context of what's coming next. Augmented and virtual reality, AI and large language models, 3D scanning in cameras on our phones, and wearable headsets and pins. So it's easy to see how valuable these features might be for everyone as our world becomes ever more digital. But they all began life as inclusive technologies. So there is a strong tradition of new technologies, services, and features being developed with inclusion in mind. Thank you for watching part one of our talk on how inclusivity shapes the world with the tech. Thank you for watching part one of our talk on how inclusivity shapes the tech we all use. We hope we've offered you some new perspectives. In part two, we'll look at what inclusivity and accessibility really mean and how they apply to all of us, at least some of the time. See you there.